What's going on, Terri?
Well,
it worked.
Good. Hello, everyone.
What'd you say about your linen pants? You was out there in some linen in the freezing cold.
Oh, yeah. I went out this afternoon and I had on a pair of linen pants, and it's 20 below here. And I'll tell you what, when I got into that parking lot, I felt like I didn't have anything on. You don't wear linen in the winter. You know what? My place was warm. I had no idea.
Right, you forget.
Meanwhile, I was like, why did I wear? I didn't even realize it.
This place is tricky.
Yeah. So linen is definitely for warm weather, not for -20 or for 20.
Yeah, it's for you when you come down here to Florida.
Yes, I'll bring my linen pants to there.
She all up there with the -2 Fahrenheit, and New York is 35.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando is 73. That's tonight is 73. I was in class just now sweating, and it was so funny because this guy, he did a deodorant commercial. So he was making up a commercial about deodorant, and I was like, ooh. Oh my God, I was sweating. And I almost made like a comment about menopause or something. That's nice. I'm just going to weird people out talking about menopause. But anyway.
I like your shirt. Your top.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's so funny, Terri. Oh my God. Let me get my album.
Oh, okay. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I grew up, my dad is a country guy, and I grew up watching Westerns.
Yep.
So this is The Gambler.
Yep.
With Kenny Rogers. I got it, y'all.
Yeah.
I love Kenny Rogers. I swear he was cool. Oh my God, what's in here? Ooh, sexy Kenny poster. Ooh. You know what? Maybe that's why I like men with gray beards.
Maybe. Hey.
him, Daniel Day-Lewis, and let's see who we can throw in there. I don't know. I love it. I think men, if you have a gray beard, be proud.
Mm-hmm.
Rock it, baby. Because some of us, we like that. Let me ask you a question, Terri. Did you ever used to have a crush on Burt Reynolds when you were younger? Tell the truth.
Did I have a crush on Burt Reynolds? No, but I did have the Playgirl issue with him in the centerfold.
Oh, when he was on that bearskin rug?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I gotta look that up. I remember he was so hairy, and when we were young,
yeah,
we were just like, ew, that's gross. Okay, they got that picture out there.
Yeah.
I thought, like, when he got older, though, it was like, why are you trying to dye your hair, bro? You look just let it.
Well, he was going bald. Burt Reynolds was bald. So
he was wearing a rug.
He was wearing a rug, yeah.
There you go. For the ladies.
Yeah.
I used to think he was funny, but
yeah,
I don't know. That hair, it was too much back then. But now when when you're older, you're like, well, it's not that bad. I guess it's like anything that make them manly, right? It's like, you got hair coming out your ears. Ooh,
back in 1972, 73, like, gosh, we didn't see naked men very much. So,
is that
what man looked like? We didn't see that. People always, back in the 70s, people were clothed. They didn't go.
Yeah.
So now they do the manscaping or whatever, but they don't appear to have hair, but maybe they do.
Get you an epilady. Remember that? That was an epilady.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I met a lady the other day. We're gonna get to the subject soon, but a lady literally 2 nights ago, I was talking to this lady, and I was like, you know who you sound like? Dolly Parton.
Ah.
And I was just so delighted with her voice. Her name is Patricia White. So pretty soon she's going to talk to us about Chinese New Year, the year of the snake, feng
Oh,
shui, and some stuff.
lovely.
So we had just a great conversation. So I'm really looking forward to that. I know I've been busy, y'all, because I've been busy in the daytime and the nighttime, like having different stuff. So we're gonna do some interviews soon with Asha. Asha introduced me to Patricia. Now I have 2 Patricias in my life. You got any Patricias?
Um, Not right now. Well, yeah, kind of. I know, yes. Not like a few years ago I had more Patricias in my life, but
Well, shout out to all the Patricias. I think
yeah.
that must be. Let me see.
Well, and for the Patricias I knew were Patsies. We're called Patsy. That was a thing from the 60s was, if your name was Patricia, your nickname was Patsy. We grew up using nicknames, right? Where now if your name is Patricia, you call yourself Patricia. If your name is Jeffrey, you call yourself Jeffrey instead of Jeff,
That's interesting.
And I mean, this is the way we were. If your name was William, everybody called you Bill. It was never your full name. My name is Teresa. I was always Terry. Oh, when I went to school, they called me Teresa.
I think Terry's okay, but I wouldn't want anybody to call me Patsy.
Oh, well, that was, or Catherine became, was Kathy.
Cat or Kathy.
Yeah, but
well, this is why I'm gonna tell you why I said that. When you look at the word Patsy, a Patsy is a person who is easily taken the advantage of, cheated, or blamed for something.
Well, yes, but that's what we know now. But 50 years ago, that wasn't, and a lot of Patsy, where Patricias were just called Pat.
Yeah.
So
hello, like Saturday Night Live. Hello, I'm Pat, and they didn't know. I don't remember. Oh, but what I was really gonna say is the word Patricia means noble or noble woman.
It's a
I like
name.
that.
And Patsy is not really a very, now that we think about it, it's not like you said. If somebody's a Patsy, does it mean well?
Well, we've always known that word because they have it in them cops and robber movies with the old criminals, but we didn't know that it would carry a meaning that could actually affect you or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked somebody calling me Patsy. You better call me Pat.
Yeah.
Call me Pat.
back 50 years ago, it was very different than it is now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why they had to come up with, okay, Robert is Bob and William is Bill. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just say this: if you're Black and your name is William, you're gonna get called Willie. I used to think that was so funny, like Willie. Yeah. It just seems like I don't know. I'm gonna stop saying stuff because I might say something that offends somebody. Like I could just see you with a beer in your hand, like it's Willie. He's got a beer. Anyway.
There used to be a cartoon called Family Circus, and and the little boy's name was Billy, and he was the youngest one, and he turned to his father one day and he says, "How old do I have to be until they stop calling me Billy?" And my brother's name is William, and I've always just called him Bill, but he's 68 years old and people still call him Billy. So that's a name that just kind of sticks.
Yeah. He's still getting called Billy?
Well, no, the family just calls him Bill, but other people in the community call him Billy.
I remember Family Circus, that one episode, it says, who did this? Everything that was happening in the house, they said, who did this? And they said, not me.
Not me.
And they had that little ghost named
Yeah.
Not Me.
Yeah.
I did used to like reading the Sunday paper. Boy, that used to be so much fun getting all that stuff. I
Yeah.
just must be feeling nostalgic.
Yeah. Yeah. That was what we used to look forward to with the weekend comics.
So I like that song so much, and I like those words so much from The Gambler that I decided to break it down, and I I thought it made a lot of sense because I even tell my son this, like I'll take pieces of westerns or of this, like even this song, and be like, you see the lesson in this? It says never count your money when you're sitting at the table. So I'm like, that's like when you're at the ATM, never say how much money out loud, or don't, like don't
Yeah.
talk out loud about your money. So I did this with The Gambler, but I had the AI, which might be offensive to some people, help me break it down. And so I want to share the lyrics and then share what it says when you translate the lyrics from The Gambler
Mm-hmm.
from life into love. So since tomorrow's Valentine's Day, or we're going to say today because we're recording that Friday night, because Valentine's Day, we're going to be busy doing stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's The Gambler, the song by Kenny Rogers. And it says, on a warm summer evening, on a train bound to nowhere, I met up with the gambler who we were both tired, too tired to sleep. So we took turns staring out the window in the darkness. The boredom overtook us and he began to speak. And he starts to tell the lesson, the life lesson for anybody who, yeah. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces, knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice. So I handed him the bottle and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And I was saying, and he asked me for a light.
How can you not sing the song, right?
I know. And the night got deathly quiet and his face lost all expression. Said, if you're going to play the game, boy, you got to learn how to play it right. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away, and you have to know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough to count them when the dealing's done. Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Because every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And at the best you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back towards the window, crushed his cigarette, and faded off to sleep. And somewhere into the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. But in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. And then it goes back into know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Oh my God, Terri. I have to just say this. Like reading that just almost made me cry.
Yeah. It's a beautiful, it's one of those songs that is timeless because it has so much meaning. It was written by Don Schlitz. I don't know who Don Schlitz is, but his words were very prophetic. And of course, Kenny Rogers made just the most amazing rendition of that song. And I always think about that is when Kenny Rogers was on the Muppets, and they did that Muppet scene of the caricature on the train, and so he sang the song, but I believe in that Muppet skit, the Muppet was actually talking the way of the old man.
Oh, as the
Yeah.
old man.
Yeah.
Why did that almost make me cry, Terri? I guess because you know that the man passes away.
Yeah.
But
well, but like the song says, that there's something that we get to keep from that. They're very profound words. Like they like it's, yes, you're playing a game, but life is a game. And so when you use that analogy, like you have an ace that you got to keep. Right. So there are some things and some people that we keep in our life, right?
Yeah. So
I have to admit, I was singing it as you were saying the words. I was singing.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Mm-hmm. So I think you can see them. Oh gosh, it's so weird how I don't know what they've done to these. The limitations on laptops. I mean, on the screens now. Like,
yeah,
they do. They change so much, and then you're like, oh, I don't know how to control it. So I think you can see it.
Yeah.
So it says, applying the gambler to love and relationship. This is a timeless song with profound wisdom that applies not only to gambling, but also to navigating love and relationships. And here's how. So know when to hold them. I feel like this is really important right now. What do you think, Terri? Like, what do you get out of it? Like when you say know when to hold them? Because right now it just seems like everybody's so quick to drop people and they don't like this and they don't like that. And then they, like people don't get a chance to marinate and think. And it was interesting for me personally, because last year there were like all these Mercury retrogrades and these little things happening where, I don't know, I was going through like my own emotional things and I was like spiking. And so it was creating misunderstandings between me and others. And the advice that I got, I think even from you, like at least twice, and from Magical Michelle, was just chill out. Don't have certain conversations like too serious of conversations, like, because this is just not the time sometimes. So in this, they say in love, there's moments where you should hold on to the relationship and invest. And these are times when trust, mutual respect, and shared growth are present, even if challenges arise. Recognize when a relationship has potential and has worth and nurturing. And I think that's kind of why all these shows about love are so popular, and people are just kind of catching on and trying to figure it out, because really they don't know. And I feel like just the whole idea of love, before you can reach out and try to start to date or get married or any of this stuff, when you're going to gamble with your heart, and you actually have to be willing to lose. Because if you're not willing to lose, you're not going to be really able to play the game.
Right. And sometimes the heart will get broken, but then it mends. And, sometimes we go into relationship with expectations, which aren't necessarily, we create those expectations. And, sometimes another person is not able to live up to the expectations that we put on them. And it's not their fault that we have these high expectations.
Yeah, and sometimes it's communication, expectation. There's all these things. So I don't even think, like, a lot of times when people really tell me about their relationship, I don't really give people the advice on whether they should leave or stay. I try to ask people, are they safe? Mm-hmm. Because, I had a friend admit to me just last night, like, oh, I like to play the game on difficult. But he was just figuring out, like, damn, I actually like to play the game on difficult. And I'm like, yeah. That's what I call fuckery, because some people like that, right? And there's like a guy and people are like, oh my God, his girlfriend's so mean, but they don't realize like he gets something out of that you don't understand. So you kind of got to like understand some people like to play the game different. Mm-hmm. So You gotta take your nose out. What's good for you isn't always good for everybody else, especially when it comes to all this advice everybody wants to give.
Right.
Things is good for everybody else. You really want something completely different. So you can't just be modeling your relationships around what other people go. So anyway, it says know when to fold them. And I think we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes no matter what you do, you can't freaking win with a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it can sink you and it can hurt you and it can destroy you. And then you got to know what you can tolerate, what you can take. Is this hurting me? And do I need to let it go?
Yeah.
I don't know if you had your 2 cents.
No, I think that, no, we covered that.
That one's evident, right? Healthier to fold.
Yeah.
Then you got to know when to walk away. So not all conflicts have to be fought. You know what? My sister used to tell me, she said, people have to realize you can be right or you can be together.
Uh-huh.
Because if you always feel you got to be right and prove you're right, then you might just be alone because you can't let stuff go and let people be and think and feel how they want to feel.
Yeah. And you know, I'm going to say this a lot of times in relationships, people will bring up something that was done 5 years ago. And they flogged that horse to death, and they still keep bringing it back to life so it can flog it again. And you know, that's difficult for somebody, you know, of the recipient of that, when you're being told you did this, you know, I remember when you did this, whatever, and that, you know, maybe that's the next one, when to run away. When you walk away from it, you walk away from that kind of a situation, you know, because you're never going to win in that.
Yeah.
There are some people's challenges, they're projecting them onto someone else.
So much. Even we saw this thing today where the guy, as soon as the girl, she's in there minding her business, playing on her phone, but as soon as he put the button for the PlayStation, she came out like, it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Where people just, they want to be in control of so much. And it's like, let people be. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, it must be so difficult. See, you were married for a long time, so you know about this. Like, to watch somebody who's being stubborn when you know what the right answer is, to watch somebody who's going through depression, like to be able to allow safe space to allow this person to figure it out on their own. Because we have to even do that with our kids, right? To just let them figure. And I think when I talk to my sister about this, I always think back to, because I've heard other women say, you know how he is. and then like now I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Girl, you know how he is. And that's any relationship. This is he, she, whoever people are with, their partnership. Because honestly, this goes for your parents, your kids, and everybody. Honestly, too.
Yeah, just any relationship, right?
Any relationship.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you got to know when to walk, but sometimes you got to know when to run.
Yeah.
So that's the red flags.
Yeah, it's a red flag, and that's where, you know, abuse, harm comes in the way, right? It's one thing to have disagreements, but if you're in danger, you got to run.
Yeah.
They're connected with those red flags.
This was the part that blew me away. And it says, never count your money when you're sitting at the table. So in love, it's important to focus on the present moment rather than overanalyzing or keeping score. I think you were just talking about that, of what this person contributed, or even the, you know, like the rights and wrongs. This is, don't focus on the balance sheet of the relationship while you're still building it. True value is revealed over time.
Mm-hmm. And you know, a lot of times, you know, we can see the faults in others, but we don't realize that we have faults as well. So for all of those faults that we see in someone else, they see reciprocal faults in us.
I know, because I feel like people will get to strutting and talking trash, and this person did this, and this person did this. I actually have a perfect example. This lady, um, it's not something. It's friend of a friend of a friend, and but I know it. I was able to be privy to the information, and it was like this. She left her space from her spouse and went to go live with the family members. And after like 30 days, they say after 3 days, your house guests are like fish. After 3 days, they begin to stink. Well, the family member actually had a list of these acts that this woman was committing around the home. And they were talking to the husband like, we need you to get your wife back. We need you to get back together because she cannot stay here. So she's leaving her home in all this indignation over X, Y, and Z, but not really realizing. And he's sitting here like, yeah, I know she does this, she does that. But he's willing to love you and tolerate you.
Right.
Because he knows what your dirty laundry list is. But she evidently had not gone through her own list to be like, and I think that too, like, okay, we're a certain age. What do I look like? I have dated people that were pretty buff before and stuff like that. And I'll be like, I have no idea why these people like me. I don't know why. but I've found them. But I guess like, maybe people are like, oh, this person's too hairy, or this person's too this, or they don't make enough money, or they don't, like these certain things where we maybe have this checklist, but not really thinking like, okay, yeah, but you can't go skiing, and I like skiing, and I like people that are super active, but you're telling me that I don't make enough, but then you're not actually, like you're not exactly the perfect cup of tea. Like you have these little whatever it is.
Right.
And so if I give you grace, then you give me grace. And when I was in church a lot too, they said, couples keep each other's secrets. So we keep each other's laundry lists, and that's, we relate because we're looking at ourselves and understanding like, oh, that guy who looks like Fabio, that's super jacked and buff and has lots of money and the perfect job and all this stuff, he might not be looking at you. So you might have to come to earth and be like with your expectations and stuff too.
You might have all those things, but the personality of a canary. And I don't know why I'm saying that, but that's
what? Another person was advising me, and they were like, you can do this and you can do that. And I was like, yeah, but if I can't have a conversation with the person, or if I can't feel safe with the person, then all the money that they have, all the spiritual talk that they, whatever it is that, that they have, that's supposed to be so big and so great. What good is it if I still feel lonely when I'm talking to you, or I still feel misunderstood? It's no purpose for me.
Right.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser.
Mm-hmm.
So every relationship, regardless of how it ends, offers a lesson, an opportunity for growth. Even if it's a painful experience, it can lead to growth and wisdom. Embrace both the joy and the pain of love as a part of your personal journey. So I learned that too. Like I never see things as a waste of time, because I think we have like these idealistic thoughts of what we think we want in a relationship. And then when you get the one thing like, oh, I want to date someone that's blah, blah, blah. And then you get it and you're like, oh, I kind of don't think I like that as much as I thought I would. You know what I mean? Like you learn, or you learn something about yourself. And I know this last year, I've really been learning a lot about myself. Terri knows, because I'm just like, Terri,
And you never stop learning. If you stop learning, then you stop living, because, I was in a relationship for 43 years, but going into a new relationship, it's way different than what I experienced, because I grew with a person, right? And now I'm with, I'm not with anybody, but when I'm with someone else now, they've had their 43 years to do whatever they've had to do. So, I can't expect and I don't even know what I want, right? Well, I should say I do, but like you don't know because you don't want to project onto someone what you had with someone else because everybody's an individual.
You saying some magic words, because this is something I realized, like, everybody's not for you, but there is someone for them. There's someone for them, there's someone for you. Like, my ex-husband, which is funny, y'all, because I'm gonna make fun of this situation. Because my name is Erica. He went and he married another person named Erica. But the Erica that he has now, like, there were places maybe that I was too strong. And I'm not saying evil or mean. It's just there's places where I was too strong and places where maybe he was too weak. But somehow she brings something completely different out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, you cannot eat triple whoppers every day. You you got to watch your blood pressure, and you're getting, big, and things are happening, and you're not taking care of yourself. And then I used to want to go hiking and things like that. And then he marries this other lady. And of course, what women always say, like, he didn't do any of that stuff with me. That he was hiking, canoeing,
Vegetarian,
growing his own food, blood pressure went down. And it's like, but
who is this person?
I have no idea. Even his voting things and his stances on certain things, but whatever it is, maybe some of the change was because of the end of the relationship, but then a lot of the change is going to be because I know I was an anxious person, and I don't think I really knew how to, like, keep quiet. A lot of times things was always an emergency. So every time there was a problem, to me, it was like the most urgent thing in the world. And maybe she was this person who was like, well, that's just how he is. And maybe that was maybe easier on him. And he could, so we just know different people bring out different aspects of a person that can be more supportive, more nurturing, more loving, or whatever. So for her, that same hand that I was playing is a winner.
Yep. She knew which ones to get rid of and which ones to keep.
Right. So yeah. Because I think too, we can walk away from some people being like, that person, blah, 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 blah. But then you have to understand, like, okay, it doesn't make them a complete waste all the time.
No.
Because other people bring something out in the person. So anyway, I think we could go on and on that subject. I swear I could. Okay, so it says, the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. So in love, the ultimate goal is to find peace and fulfillment, whether through a lifelong partnership or by living authentically in alignment with your own values. The lesson: seek contentment and harmony in your relationships and cherish the journey. So I guess the best that you could hope for is that it doesn't end badly in a very difficult way.
And even if it does end, maybe, if it's done mutually and people leave the relationship on good terms, because, sometimes you can still be friends with that person without necessarily calling them, the worst piece of trash in the world. You can still leave with integrity.
Yeah, can you break up with people and just be like, well, it just didn't work. It just wasn't for me. And I really feel like if people could just do that, and I think the resentment comes from a person staying too long and feeling cheated in some way or hurt in some way, when at some point we have to just decide, like, is this for me or is it not? If it's not for me, then I need to walk away from the table. But if I go on my own volition this way, maybe I don't have to feel so much resentment. Or, what is the saying? I'm sorry I forgive you for not being who I wanted you to be. What is that? I forgive you for not being the way I wanted you to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's like by Louise Hay.
Right.
Because instead of being so angry at the person for whatever you feel, how they've wronged you, we really have to get to this point of understanding like other humans have weaknesses. This I would think too in my healing class where people were kind of going through the trauma, shock and trauma from childhood. And it's like, guess what? Your mom hurt you, but she also has shock and trauma. So there's a reason she's the person that she is. So people have reasons for being who they are. And if we can acknowledge that they have shock and trauma the way that we have shock and trauma, then I can move on and forgive them for not being this mystical, magical Aladdin being from the Disney movies that, you know, kissed us and woke us up from a slumber, you know, whatever. Yeah. There had to be some forgiveness in it all.
Right.
So the last one, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. In love, as in life, reflection should come after the journey is played out. Don't obsess over every detail. Give yourself space to evaluate the relationship once it's over or settled. Allow time to process on the lesson from love without rushing to conclusions. I'll say this. I've been asked, you know, before, like, well, what are you guys doing? Well, what is it? What does it become? You know, and it's like people sometimes put this hurry on what your relationship is. Like you as the person in the relationship can be like, I want this, and we're gonna be this. But what if we just take a few steps back and just allow it to be and allow it to develop? Because I think based on the societal standards of people need to be married and people need to, you got to buy a house, buy a car, have this kind of job by this age. Like there's all this pressure that people have been having on what relationships should look like and how quickly they should go, whether you should in 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years, what things should look like instead of just living life as if it is a journey and seeing what the day brings. Like just calm it all down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what this kind of disappoints me sometimes is when people participate in relationships and they really act as though they've been cheated or stolen from, unless you literally got somebody stealing from you or cheating you. That people aren't really approaching life and relationships in a way where it's like unfolding and developing and allowing, but instead it's becomes very transactional.
Right.
Money, me, give me. Time, even like value the time that you had. If the person is busy, then they're just busy. Like there's so much riding on the other person sometimes where people actually feel like I'm not getting what I want, but it's like looking for someone to fill up all your time and make you happy, when it's like, hey, can you occupy your own self? And do you have your own interests still? Or do you give up everything you have when you get with a person? And maybe that's why they feel so cheated, is because you begin to give up your friendships and your hobbies and your relationships and the things that you like.
Right.
Instead of, you know. I don't know what your thoughts are on why do people feel so cheated?
I think, you know, that this is a, yeah, I'm not even sure. I think you covered it all. It's there's a lot that we need to, we have to have that relationship with ourselves and not look for those things that we find fault in people is a reflection about ourselves. and we can't expect somebody to fill those needs that we, when we're not happy about something, what is it? We have to look back and say, what are we not happy with it in ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because God knows I try to keep my mind busy and occupied. God knows I try to do what makes me happy in life and not to forget that. So
Yeah. And I can also say too, is you also have to be aware what that other person is looking for in a relationship too. And what are they looking for in you? And can you fill their needs? Because then that becomes that other issue. That's about finding the balance, right? There is a give and take here. And what is that person wanting from you? Like I can say one of the relationships that I was in, he wanted more from me than he was going to give to me. Right? Like he wanted somebody was going to, that he was controlling, and he wanted certain things, but he wasn't listening to what I need, what I was looking for in a relationship either. So, you have to go into this with your eyes open.
And I know you know what I think too, because I think he wanted someone to argue with, who'd be like,
oh yeah,
like he really wanted somebody who was gonna be like, like giving him some feedback, and he was like, "You're just not, you're just not rough enough." But no, we don't
exactly. I can't be that person.
I don't want to be rough. I can be, but gosh, by the time I start being rough with the person or sarcastic, like I don't want to be sarcastic with the person that I'm loving.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. It's hard to be sarcastic, to think of sarcastic shit to say all the time. You got to be ready.
It doesn't turn me on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to be ready. Like, I don't have all this ammunition. I'm trying to be like a happy person.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yes, we have to look at the balance of it. We've got to balance it, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I've literally dated people before where I just knew they weren't going to be happy unless you argue. They really want to bring it out of you. And so let me go back to this thing here.
They must have been a Taurus. No, I'm saying.
Actually, they were an Aquarius.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you, Aquarius can be very difficult. I'm sorry. They can be.
I had my daughter was Aquarius and my mother was Aquarius. So I know exactly what they're like.
They can be very difficult because my mom is an Aquarius. And this person was an Aquarius. But they were an Aquarius with a huge ego. But it seemed like Aquarius, I don't know. We better stop picking on Aquarius people, because it seemed like they had a pretty big ego, both of them. Like they want you to listen. Like, I want you to listen to me and do what I say type of people.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like. So anyway, the final thought of this song, that love really is like gambling. You can't really go into it lighthearted, thinking unless you're willing. You got to be really willing to lose something, because you might lose some things, and you might gain some things at the same time, and it might hurt. And so it requires intuition, patience, wisdom, and knowing when to invest and knowing when to let go, how to cherish the journey, and how to navigate with grace and charity. And clarity. And I honestly feel like if you live your life, I remember me and Jonathan, we were talking about this too, because some people can be a Zen Buddhist during meditation and meditation class. But when it comes to home and life, when you throw other people in the mix, all the Zen disappears. That if you can actually use your experiences with love to actually be this lesson, be a journey, and have some introspection. Why am I angry? Why am I nervous? Why am I anxious or Why am I so blasting with love even? Why am I so giddy? Like really start to understand like what is triggering you and what is triggering your emotions and understand why you're responding the way you do. Are you a person who's just in love with the idea of being in love? Are you a person that has an imaginary relationship? You know how people they have a conversation with somebody and then in their head they say they fantasize in their head, and most of their what their true reality is completely different from these fantasy thoughts where they've basically dreamt up most of the relationship. When we're young, that's what we do because we're like, oh, Billy, Bobby, whoever,
Yeah.
Sarah. Oh. And so you think you're in love with this person and you really don't even know them because you're spending all that time in your head and not actually getting to know what they really think and feel and how they respond to stress or things, you know? That's amazing.
Well, and let's go back to that first love that you have, right? You idealize it, and if you think back to some of the kids, oh my god, that you went to school with, they married their first love, right? They
Mhm.
and years later they end up getting divorced because they've grown in different directions. What they idealized when they were 15 or 16 years old was very different than what you feel when you're 30 years old and what you feel when you're 40 years old. And so, you end up with these people who get married to their childhood sweetheart, and then 20 years later their lives are just like, we got nothing in common.
You know what I think happens with that? I think that because when you're young, there's all the you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you're married, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to say that and you're supposed to act like this and you're supposed to act like that. And so we spend a lot of time acting
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not because you don't even really know your authentic self and you have not truly been your authentic self yet. You have not even discovered your authentic self yet.
Right.
It's possible that two people can find it together.
Yeah.
But when you got one person going to work here and one person studying here, and then one person staying at home with kids, and the other person's like, so there's all this growing apart if the people aren't having these conversations. I like Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, and it was talking about what happens to most marriages is that people get married for two different reasons. Like one person gets married because they're in love with you. The other person gets married because they want to buy a new house and have kids. One person gets married because they want to have kids, and the other person gets married because they really want a roommate. You know what I mean? They want somebody to share the bills.
Yeah.
And I've actually counseled a guy who I thought to myself, I said, you know what? You actually need to stay away from women. Because he kept saying, if I had me a good woman and, then I could do this if I have a good woman. And it was like, no, actually, you need to figure that stuff out on your own. So that when you meet a good woman, because he had like all these expectations of, and it sounded a lot like splitting bills. Or someone who's going to look cute around the house all day at work, have to pay bills, and his expectations. I was just like, oh God, please stay away from women, please. And so, why are you getting married? And so then I know that some people do this thing where they go on a date like with each other, and the following year they kind of do this check-in thing to be like, well, how do you feel about how do you feel like we did? Well, what do you feel like we need to do more of? What do you think we should do less of? What should we do better? Because you have to get back aligned on the same page sometimes, because the desires we have outside of our relationship begin to drive us, and sometimes it can separate you, because if you're a person completely focused on your career, at times you're going to be forgetful of the relationship, right? Because you get so focused on these other things that you have to bring it back in. And so hopefully this is all just a good conversation and good information for people.
Yeah, and if it strikes a chord in one way or the other, then take what you need and leave the rest.
And leave the rest.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want to talk about some stuff, because maybe some people, I don't know, they have more they would like to discuss on that. But I like talking about this, because for me, this whole thing is just me figuring out who I am, why I am the way that I am. Do I like the way I am? Do I want to do more of this, be more of this, or less of this? What is it? Because I'm becoming.
We're always becoming, right? We're
Right.
always becoming the next version of ourselves. And
Mhm.
so we can either flourish in that becoming, or else we can lose ourselves. And so, we always want to allow that pearl to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did put this up, but I'll put this up. Did I ever put it up? I think this is, oh goodness, it's not doing anything. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I have no
No,
idea.
no, you haven't put that up yet.
Okay. Yeah, I forgive you for not being the way I wanted you to be. I forgive you and I set you free. Let's
Mm.
remember this too. If you cannot give forgiveness to others, how do you receive forgiveness? Because the anger, hatred, spite, and this lack of forgiveness that we have for other people, the spirit just interprets that as how you feel about yourself. So what you're projecting out just really just energetically comes back to you, and it makes you suffer. Therefore, it is very beneficial to just let shit go. And I love the Sophia Code, because it went through at least 4 or 5 pages of I forgive myself for being hurt. I forgive myself for being weak. It goes through that
Mhm.
Sophia Code. It really is really beautiful how Kyra has put that book together, especially for some people. Some people can speak things into existence easily, and some people need more of a ritual aspect.
Right.
That book is really good for that, especially just allowing you to actually be empowered more. So I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that book. I swear I had 3 copies of it.
Oh,
It's powerful words in there.
yeah.
So what else you got going on, Terry?
Oh, well, I don't know. I got a couple of things going on this weekend. So
Mhm.
I'm going out for brunch on Saturday. So we'll see.
That's nice.
Yes. And tomorrow I have my daughter. I had I had a daughter that passed away, and Valentine's Day is her birthday.
Oh,
So my daughter, my daughter, my daughter that I survived, we always celebrate Melanie's birthday. So we're going to celebrate her birthday tomorrow, and we have a cake and lunch and that sort of thing. So that's how we've always celebrated Valentine's Day, because it's a special day for someone that that we loved.
yes. I hope you enjoy your day and your cake.
Ah, well, I hope you enjoy your day. Anything
I
special?
might go to this thing called Nude Night.
Oh, no, really? How are you dressing?
Yeah, it's
How are you dressing?
amazing. It's amazing. I'm hoping I can actually participate next year. It's like a lot of body art,
Okay.
and so there's a lot of painting and gluing on of things, and
Oh,
there's some sculptures, there's some live art, there's performance, and then there's paintings and sculptures and stuff like that. But you know, I guess it's like a lot of body positivity, and they have different themes and stuff, and people recovering from different things that maybe now their skin or body is different,
mm,
and so it's like embracing that
the
as well.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah, embracing the change, accepting yourself as beautiful and stuff like that. So this is a 3-day thing, and I was invited to that, and I do some of that.
Ooh, nice.
I might do a little bit of date night, or I don't know. I don't think I can't really hit the road this weekend like I'd like to, because I got still even like a photo shoot on Saturday. So
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's for your acting career.
Yeah, that's gonna be so much fun. Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. Maybe I can just find a really tall hotel to stay in
Right.
weekend. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One with an ocean
Oh, I
view.
bet you there's nothing available. I bet, huh? It's Valentine's.
It's Valentine's.
Who
I
knows?
was, you know what? I went to the grocery store earlier this afternoon, and everywhere was roses, bunches of roses, on the aisles of this of the supermarket, and it was just like, oh, they're beautiful. And I do buy flowers for myself, but Valentine's Day the price doubles, and I thought, yeah, I'm worth it, but I'm not going to buy them this week. I'll wait till next week.
Yeah, all the vendors were outside. Everywhere we go, you're driving down the street and it's people everywhere just selling stuff outside. That's what they do here. They make up the giant baskets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see.
Well, I don't have any Valentines, but I remember, when we were kids, we used to make Valentines for people, for our classmates in school, and we
Oh,
made
yeah.
Valentine cookies and had the Valentine heart candies, the little cinnamon hearts, and
Oh, I used to love those little candy card things.
yeah, yeah. But now, they're not made the same as they used to be. Now they're made with all the other added stuff that's not good for you. Not
Yeah.
that they were ever good for
Oh,
you.
yeah, that's true.
But
Can't get away from that dang red number 40.
no, I know that.
Even though the blue, yellow, and green is still gross, and purple tastes like poison. So anyway, why does purple always taste like poison? But anyway,
As I'm wearing purple today, and you're dressed and you got purple behind you.
yeah, it doesn't taste good on cupcakes though.
No.
No. So we're gonna see you next week, Tuesday. Oh my God, I should have asked you to pull a love card.
Oh,
what is wrong with me? I forgot.
Okay, hold on.
I forgot all about it.
Universal love. Universal love. And let's see. We're going to pull a card for everyone for today, for Valentine's Day. And the card is,
we're still in the shadow of the full moon.
Earth connections.
You got a light behind you? Oh, there it goes. Earth connections.
Yeah. Earth connections. So I think
deep
I'm
roots.
gonna pull three. Yeah. Groups.
Deep roots.
I know, but I'm thinking Groot. Oh, okay. So with three cards here. So we have the Earth connections. How am I going to do this? Okay, Earth connections, then meditation.
Just turn it sideways. Yep, that's a good one. You got it.
Meditation, and then the sacred union.
All right.
So, okay,
you know what I would take from that?
What are you going to take from that?
Get what you need for yourself.
Right.
And then connect.
Yeah, and you know what? Instead of, the thing is once we're grounded, connecting with the earth, right? Then we are not lofty anywhere. Then we can make, like we can. So I think that the earth connection and the meditation are what is it? The earth is in your heart. Going into your heart, you're going to ground yourself. You do that through just that tapping, just that meditation, and then the sacred union is going to happen. Whether it's the sacred reunion with you or with another person.
Yeah.
It's being in your center, being in your heart.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna put that in another kind of speak. Get your mind right. Yeah. Get yourself right, get your mind right, and then you can connect with others on that level.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you gotta get it for yourself. Yes. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad we did remember the cards because I forgot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
forgot.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
They're lovely. Nice ones.
so we'll say good night or happy Valentine's
Happy
Day. Because
Valentine's Day. Yeah. Have a beautiful day, and may your day be filled with love and
yeah,
grace.
look all around for and just be
Yeah.
grateful. Yeah, looking around and being grateful.
Right. Be
Yeah,
grateful.
embrace it.
Yeah.